So we're going to be strict hands only.
It is strict hands only. Clean your butts.
Clean your butts.
Wash it. Kavi, I love you.
Yeah?
I love Dishoom.
But you don't like that.
I don't like this. Welcome to Hands Down, the show where we showcase and sample foods that are best enjoyed eaten with hands. Now, there was one restaurant I always wanted to nab to do this, because I think when people think of cuisines that you eat with your hands, they think kind of Indian, South Asian. And I thought, look, we could do, and we will do, some of the more hole-in-the-wall type places, the places where you go with your family maybe, if you're from an immigrant community. But there was one restaurant I absolutely wanted to get, because I know you guys love it, we all love it, all over the UK. They've got branches all over the place, but it is a place that screams, oozes class, sophistication, deliciousness. And that place, my friends, is Dishoom. I landed it! We got Dishoom coming, and I can't wait. I'm so excited. And the person we're gonna meet, big deal. Big deal by Dishoom standards. So come with me, let's go and meet him.
We're in Shoreditch right now. This is the second one we opened
Okay.
in 2012. But I tell you what, we love what we do. We love bringing together people over food, over stories, over the Bombay food and the Bombay culture that we love sharing with others.
Well, I said on camera earlier, it was inspired by the Irani cafes in Bombay, right?
Yeah, that's some of our inspiration, yeah.
Yeah, so tell me more about that.
So if you cast your mind back to 2010 in London, Indian food, and look, England's got an amazing long history with India.
Yeah.
And sometimes the oldest relationships can become a bit stale.
Yeah.
And also quite often built on stereotypes, right? So if you'd said to someone in 2010, let's talk about India, they might give you 4 or 5 stereotypes, like curry house, Taj Mahal, Bollywood, cricket. I can't think of much else. Incredible India, palaces, kind of stuff.
I'm thinking of coconut, like Dabur Amla, coconut hair oil, but that
felt
like I'm having a stab at you, and I'm not.
Yeah, hair oil. No one ever said that to me, funnily enough. But so, and that was like, all those stereotypes existed. And if you thought about the food scene, certainly we had curry houses, which are amazing, but are very much part of British identity. And these amazing chef-led Michelin-style kind of restaurants. Look, here's a chai.
Oh, here we go.
Enjoy, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Which again, these places do amazing food, and
cheers.
Welcome.
Thank you.
But again, they're not the kind of places you go to every day, or certainly people back home don't go to every day.
Yeah.
So Shamal, my cousin, and I, and some co-founders as well that were with us at the time, we were thinking about how to introduce Indian food, Indian hospitality to London in a way that felt like would represent our culture and the culture of people back home. So as much as I love curry houses, and we couldn't actually do what we do without them, or the guys that leading the way, that kind of cutting edge, we wanted to reintroduce people the comfort food of Bombay, the stories of the city, the Bombay that I spent a lot of time in as a kid, and Shamal spent a lot of time as a kid with grandparents, and really telling stories around that, about the breaking of bread together, the breaking down barriers from people from different backgrounds, different religions, different financial backgrounds, all coming together in the same kind of places, eating food together, and really having this kind of shared social spaces. So for us, we wanted to bring that approach to restaurants at the time in London, and just say, look, this is what we do. It's Bombay. It's comfort food. It's not fancy. Like literally got chai
in
like
a glass.
in a chai glass.
Absolutely love.
Which
absolutely
you might have in Bombay. And it's funny, you're talking about chai. When we first were trying to develop our chai recipe, we had all these fancy tea people selling us this very expensive tea, and trying to do it with very fine herbs and spices, and then the chefs in the kitchen would be drinking this chai, and there's chai from Bombay that they will know.
Yes,
like,
exactly.
You know what? Why don't we just have that?
Exactly.
And that's the chai we had.
First, tell me about kind of yourself, like your kind of background, you eating with hands. Is it something you do frequently? Does your family do it?
Yes, I do it frequently. Yes, my family does it. So I grew up in a joint family. So I live with my uncles, my aunties, my cousins, my grandparents on my dad's side. And I'm very close to my mum's side as well. And
just make sure you got that. He's close to his mum's side as well. Mum and dad. Equal. Right.
No
arguments.
Because my auntie's always saying, hold on, you say
Exactly. So I just, Auntie, sab saru chair. Good chair. Thick chair. Yeah.
Exactly. But we used to come together over big family lunches, dinners, brunches. Food was always at the center of our home.
Yeah.
And it was Desi style, everything in the middle, pass it around, fill your plate, push your brother out of the way to get the last bit of that.
Yeah.
And so we grew up eating with our hands. We had very strong women in our family that were fantastic cooks that used to make sure we were all well fed. So whether you're out late studying or out and about from a school trip or whatever it might be, you come home and you know you've got an amazing meal on the table. It wasn't always Indian food, but we always got together around food. My wife is Lebanese, and again, a lot of eating with your hands in Lebanese culture as well.
Yeah.
So my kids are now growing up with eating with your hands as totally normal.
Normal, and your family, are they Gujarati?
Yes, exactly right.
Right,
Yes.
and so in Gujarati food, like dhoklas and teplas and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you eat like rice and rotis?
We do. So in our Gujarati household, you wouldn't have roti and rice on the same plate of food. So we'd have wheat first, and then we'd typically finish with like a dal and a bhat or a rice.
Yeah. I love that you said bhat. Bengali say bhat.
Yeah, there you go.
See, earlier, before we were recording, I was talking to you about this, that Bengali and Gujarati seems to have, language-wise, quite a few overlaps.
Which is weird.
Bhat, parota, and all the ches. I know.
And the saris, right?
And the saris.
Yeah.
So we might have to do something else about that another time.
You and me and saris.
You and me and saris.
There you go.
Handshake. Right, we're going to be in saris. Right.
So Pav Bhaji.
Pav Bhaji, yes.
This is, like I said, this is typical comfort food. And my grandma, who I was talking about, tells me of a Bombay when this dish didn't exist.
Yeah.
So this was made on the cheap for textile mill workers.
Yeah.
When I guess their boss didn't know what to feed everyone, smashed up all the veg,
Yeah.
put in plenty of butter, and pav, which is ubiquitous in our city,
Yeah.
tuck in.
I'm interested by pav because if you look at this, right,
Yeah.
you think of it as an English bread roll.
Yeah.
Like a classic English bread roll. Do you know how that arrived in Bombay?
So pav is a Portuguese word.
Okay,
So I think this was introduced
the
to
original
this city
colonizers.
yeah, exactly. Was introduced to this part of the world from the Portuguese. But it is similar to English bread roll. I think it's sweeter.
Yeah.
Definitely sweeter.
Definitely sweeter.
And definitely more delicious. So, are we going to be strict hands only?
It is strict hands only.
No cutlery
Only
at all.
cutlery for serving.
Okay, so should we get some cutlery to serve this, or are we just going to go into that bowl?
I think we can share the bowl. I think we're brothers now.
We are.
Let's do it.
Off
Go
you.
straight into the bowl.
Yeah.
Do you have any specific techniques that you employ when you eat with your...
Get as much as I can on the first bite. So.
I went in quite delicately there.
Yeah, that's pathetic.
He looked quite disappointed.
I'm massively disappointed. Like, look at this. Come on.
There you go.
This is how we're going to do it. And so, tell me, I'm asking you questions now.
There we go. Proper.
Did you grow up eating with your hands?
Yeah, I did. So that's part of the reason I wanted to do the show, which is my dad's from Pakistan, mum's from Bangladesh, and being fed by hand. My mum, once a week, I would ask her to feed me a meal with her hand. So I would sit on the floor by the sofa, and my mum would be feeding me.
And is that unusual to your family, or is that like common across
Very common
your
across
community?
family. Even when we go to Bangladesh, my mum's older sister would be feeding her as soon as she arrived.
That's amazing.
Well into her 40s and 50s, so it's a very kind of emotive thing for me. And I'm someone who likes food. I go out to eat in a lot of restaurants. I understand all the etiquette. My mum actually had etiquette lessons in the school she was in.
Yeah.
But there seemed to be, to me, this sense that people felt like eating with your hands, particularly hot food, was somehow barbaric or backward. And I just wanted to do a show
Love it.
that changed it. And Dishoom, what a perfect place to do it. Maybe because I didn't know the Portuguese connection, so thank you for teaching me that. But this isn't something that I, in terms of my family background, would eat usually.
Yeah.
This feels like a very Bombay-specific thing.
Yeah.
Because in Bengali cuisine, they do mash their vegetables. Yeah. And they call them portas. I don't even know what portas.
Yeah, I do.
So portas. So this would be, to me, it would be porta, and I'd eat this with rice and dal.
Right.
So this is like quite a nice experience to be able to, it's not something I eat regularly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very iconic in Bombay, and there's, people love it. And again, it's that, we're talking about family earlier on. In Bombay, if you're down on the beach in the evening, you'll see families coming together over plates of Pav Bhaji and doing like we're doing now, just sharing a bowl of Pav Bhaji or a plate of Pav Bhaji and chatting.
Yeah. It's absolutely...
It's such a leveler.
Yeah. And this one in particular is very delicious, the Dishoom one.
The best.
I've got to say it now.
Yeah. Right, come on, I'll move you on to samosa.
Samosas.
Lamb samosa.
These are a lovely, lovely shape.
Yeah.
Look at that, perfect triangle. Good. Look, equal. It's kind of. What, do you know a triangle shape? Isosceles. No, it's not an isosceles.
That's an equilateral.
It's an equilateral. It's all equal shapes. See what happens.
Equal sides.
He knows this because he used to work in the World Bank.
Ah, I did. That's all we talked about. Samosas.
It's equilateral triangles. How did I mean, this seems like such a stereotypical question to ask.
Go on.
But your family, how did they react to you going? Because I had a similar journey. I started in finance, now I've become a comedian.
Right.
And you have, I guess it's still business, but you went from the World Bank into the food business. How did your family react to that?
Well, it's a good question because if you think about the typical immigrant story, right? Like generation one, I was born in this country, but my family were immigrants, obviously.
Yeah.
Generation one works hard, starts a business, small business, sends the kids to school so they can become professionals. It's not the other way around, right? So small businesses were shops or restaurants or things like that, not have a business and then go back after your education to start a restaurant. So I think the family were very supportive because they kind of knew that we wanted to do it, but would give it a pretty good effort, right? Like they know we'd work hard at it. But I think it seemed mad to other people. Hold on a minute. I'm sure my dad got questions from his friends saying, your son has had a good education. Yeah. He's starting a restaurant.
Basically, that's what you've done. Yeah.
Exactly. So I think it's really peculiar.
Yeah.
And people ask me all the time, like, what's your advice for starting my own restaurant? I'm like, don't do it. It's really a
this
mad,
is what happens.
Yeah, exactly. It's a mad business.
Right, let's just talk about the samosa. I kind of wolfed down the first one. It's so crispy. The seasoning of the lamb is absolutely delicious.
I'm glad you like it.
Do you know what's in it?
Yeah.
Do you know what's in it?
Yeah.
So
we've got ginger, we've got pepper, we've got a bit of, there'll be maybe some garam masala in there.
And the mince is just kind of melts in your mouth. Which is one of the best samosas you'll eat anywhere, I think. Because the crispiness is good as well. And it's not greasy, which often you get with samosa.
You really do.
So this is top.
Yeah, exactly. It's a healthy samosa.
A healthy samosa. So what's this?
These are okra fries, we call them. They're bhindi.
Oh no.
Oh no. Oh, you don't like bhindi?
I don't like bhindi.
Okay, good.
I don't like bhindi, I don't like okra.
Great. Well, that's the same thing, number one. So, yeah.
Or ladies' fingers. I'm just trying to give you
ladies' fingers. However, you will like these. Okay, tell me why you don't like them. Because they're slimy. And they do a funny thing to your mouth. That's why most people don't like them.
Basically, and also, I've had bhindi in all its forms.
Yeah.
Even this.
No, liar. You didn't even know what it was.
I'm telling you, this is going to be tough. This might be, because this is my food hell, by the way.
Good.
This is my food
And
hell.
I didn't even know that.
Right, so, can Dishoom convert me into enjoying okra?
Because, there's only good outcomes for me from this. A, you like it, which is a good outcome. Or B, you hate it, which I get to see your face, which is also a good outcome.
Right. I'm excited by the crispiness. I'm hoping that the flavour on the crispiness is going to cover the actual okra taste.
Just go for it. See? Hell's not as bad as he thought.
The top bit's good so far. Let's get to the main. This might be alright, actually. Oh no, not that bit.
Not that
I like
bit.
the crispy top bit.
Okay.
But this middle, I don't like that.
The soft bit.
Yeah. Whatever that is.
So I kind of half won, half lost.
Yeah. If you give me the top crispy bits.
Can I have the crispy ones then?
Kavi, I love you.
Yeah?
I love Dishoom.
But you don't like that.
I don't like this. This is not for me.
Let me read what it says on the menu about that dish, because I think we can change it to fine ladies' fingers for the fingers. So we even talk about eating with your hands.
There you
go.
Say, eat this with your fingers.
Yeah.
Lady fingers.
Not for you.
Dishoom, not for me.
Well, we tried.
We tried, but thank you. In terms of Dishoom generally, customers aren't eating with their hands, are they?
I think it's a real mix. So depending on what they order, I mean, eating dal and rice with your hands is probably quite a challenge unless you've grown up doing it, because the technique is quite tricky. But definitely like breads and curries for sure.
Fine. Yeah.
Grills and naan for sure. So I think it depends on what they're eating.
Okay.
But unless you've grown up in a household where you've eaten wet dishes without a bread to bind it, it's hard.
Right. And you're comfortable with rice
You
and dal?
eating, yeah, with you eating rice and dal on camera with your hands, I don't mind.
And are you comfortable with doing it yourself?
Sure.
Okay, great.
Let's get some of that. This is a Murgh Malai. I think this, hopefully, is you like it, but
Yeah,
I
I
love
like it. So Murgh is chicken.
Yeah.
And Malai is?
Malai means like cream.
Cream, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's, and it's marinated for a while, isn't it? 24 hours.
This is an overnight marinade.
An overnight marinade. So,
Yeah.
see, I know a bit about food.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you nailed it.
Right. So should we go?
Yeah.
I'll just take a couple bits of this.
Yeah. For eating this?
Yeah.
It's for breaking the, what technique for what? Putting it in my mouth or breaking the bread?
Breaking it and putting it in your mouth.
Okay, so breaking it, I'm kind of comfortable with one hand.
One hand, great.
Yeah.
Which is the way I think it should be.
Yeah.
You use your left hand to serve the stuff up, and your right hand to rip. Does that have that in Gujarati culture that your left hand is
Dirty?
dirty? You do. That's very interesting.
Well, I think that's
A South Asian thing, maybe.
possibly
Yeah.
to do with, I mean, we can talk about why that starts, right?
Yeah, we can talk about.
To do with cleaning your butt.
Yeah. Yeah. Clean your butts.
Clean your butts.
Wash it.
Yeah.
I don't. If you troll me and you don't wash your ass, I'm not going to respect you. How can I? Why would I accept the shit coming out of your mouth if you don't respect the shit coming out of your ass?
It's a very good question. So that is a good question. Like, that's how you should end this, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm just saying that in front of the co-founder of Dishoom, by the way.
So my question is, right? We've got this whole stigma around.
Sorry, just quickly, we've just got a social media manager who's like,
She's just delighted. So we've got this whole stigma about not using your left hand because your left hand's dirty.
Yeah.
But if you look at Western culture and how people wipe their asses,
Yeah.
it's probably not with their left hand, it's probably with their right hand, if they're right-handed.
Yes, of
But
course.
people eat with their right hands.
They do. That's true.
So
Disgusting.
So that whole thing about your left hand being dirty
Yeah.
is only true if you're a Westerner
Yes.
that uses your left hand to wipe their ass.
Yes. Yeah. Because during the pandemic, you have to be reminded how to wash your hands. Remember? And Muslims, we do it 5 times a day, minimum. Anyway.
They're very clean hands.
They're very clean hands.
Okay, so
Let's talk about this chicken. I mean,
yeah.
is this a Rumali roti? Mm-hmm. So Rumali basically means shawl, doesn't it?
Rumali means like a handkerchief.
Handkerchief, yeah, basically. So it's got that kind of thinness to it, as you can see, and it folds so beautifully. Really like, and the chicken itself, as you'd expect, it's been marinated for 24 hours in Malay. It's really gone into the chicken, really sweet, and the chicken's tender. You already know this because you eat this all the time. What is your favourite dish on the Dishoom menu?
Oh, it's a hard question, but one of the reasons I ordered that is because I think it's really like approachable, but really delicious. It sounds so simple, Murgh Malai, chicken and like cream and like bland stuff. But when you eat it, it's tender, it's delicious, it's juicy.
Yeah.
You want more of it, it's hard to stop eating that.
It's very hard to stop eating.
So I think that may be the unsung hero on the grilled dish. I quite like the underdog.
Yeah, okay.
You know.
Well, it's absolutely delicious. And I love here, I don't know if you can grab this, you can see where the skewer's gone through. Beautiful square shape. Look at that. That's perfect.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you like it.
I'm particularly glad that you rip your roti with one hand.
Well, yeah, see, I do when I've got it on my plate, but here I would use 2 hands. Because my right hand has got the juice of whatever I'm eating on it.
Yes.
I don't want to put that back in because I feel that roti is now got food on it.
Yeah.
And so that my hand is clean, put that back in.
Exactly.
So that's my technique.
And I think it's the right technique.
Well, I'm glad. Phew.
It's signed off from Eshaan Akbar from Hands Down.
Yeah.
And when you were growing up, did your parents give you rules about how you eat with your hand? Were you told what was etiquette or not?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
I think we were told eat with your right hand, and that never made sense to me because I grew up in the UK, not using my left hand to wipe my ass. Yeah. But so that never made sense to me, especially because it applied to Indian food but not other food. But I mean, we will eat rice and dal in a minute with our hands.
Yeah.
I certainly got taught how to do that, and I remember my grandma teaching me that.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And were they strict about not seeing it on your palms or anything like that?
Oh no.
Okay.
Maybe they were, but I don't recollect that. Well, did you have that?
Well, yeah. Growing up,
Yeah.
my mum especially would check my hands after I'd eaten.
Okay.
The main rule was, when I'm in company or in somebody else's house, it can't go beyond this third knuckle. So it had to be quite delicate.
Yeah.
And if I'm at home, it shouldn't really touch any bit of the palm. So that was the rule.
Was that her way of getting you to eat at home? No, you can be messier at home.
Yeah, it can be a bit messier at home, so it's fine. But yeah, so that was a rule. So yeah, that's what I was taught.
That's quite cool.
Yeah, Mum was very strict about stuff like that.
And I want to go back to what she used to feed you.
Yeah.
So what was, maybe it was the same thing every week, but what was your favourite thing she actually used to feed you? Was there like a specific thing you used to look forward to her cooking and feeding you rather than when you were feeding yourself?
In terms of feeding me with her hands,
yeah.
I always wanted her to feed me like a rice, a beef bhuna curry, and dal. Because in Bengali there's a concept called Makahano, which means mixed, mix. So the way mums generally, but particularly my mum, would mix the food would be outrageously delicious.
Right.
Like all the sauce would be infused in the rice. And then she'd do this thing where the sauce that was left, this was my favourite bit of the meal, the sauce that was left on the plate, she'd scoop it with her finger like this, put it onto the end of the plate, scoop it up and just put it into my mouth.
That's amazing.
So nothing was left on the plate.
Yeah, super clean.
Super clean. And so I grew up doing that.
Right.
I still do that now. If there's sauce on the plate, like after I have a pasta, say a carbonara or something, there's so much sauce left on the plate.
The best stuff.
It's the best stuff. So I have to use bread because I'm in company.
Yeah.
But my instinct is to just use my index finger to scoop it all up, put it onto the end, and you do that.
That's quite classy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned you've got kids.
Yes.
Has this happened? This kind of formal look at eating with your hands? Do they eat with their hands at home?
I'm going to teach them to eat with the cutlery.
How old are they?
4, 10, and 13.
4, 10, and 13.
So the older two are fine, but the little guy, he'll just eat everything with his hands.
Of course he will.
And I'm like, well, why not?
Yeah.
So.
And how about the older ones? Are they eating with
They eat, like I said, their mum's Lebanese.
Yeah.
We're obviously grow up with Indian food around us, so they eat everything from all over the world.
Amazing.
And we teach them to eat it as close to the real way to eat it as it would be. The people who eat that food generally. So if it's Japanese food, I tried to get them to use chopsticks. Like, why not?
Yeah. Apparently sushi is meant to be eaten with hands.
Yeah, sushi is. That's true.
Which
rice noodles.
Rice noodles and all that stuff.
Yeah.
By the way, left hand clean, pick up the glass, it's clean. That's a bit of both. And this is one thing that I had to adjust to.
Okay.
Which was cutlery place settings.
Right.
So my mum taught me kind of both. So the Western setting of your knives and forks or whatever. But the glass on an Asian place setting would be to the left.
Right.
But on a British or Western,
I've just learned something.
it would be to the right.
I like that.
And this is something I've had to adjust when I set plates.
I'm now going to do that from now because I always put the glass on the right-hand side.
There you go.
Wow. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Boom.
And you can high five.
High five.
Right. So
Come on, let's go.
Let's go rice and dal.
Rice and dal.
I'm doing rice and dal.
Yeah.
And actually, I've got none on here already. That's one thing. I don't mix my breads and rice.
No, neither do I.
Okay.
So it was going to be bread and dal, right? Yeah. And then rice and biryani.
So this is the infamous black dal, right?
Yes.
Like, this is the one thing that whenever you speak to people about Dishoom, they do say the black dal, the black dal. Why do you think this particular dal is so popular amongst your customers?
I think this is just like a hug in a bowl.
Yeah.
It's so, like, look at it. It's rich. I mean, I'm using my right hand here, but it's rich, it's thick, it's warm, it's lentils, it's just everything that a good bowl of food should be.
Yeah.
And it's also simple ingredients, right? So I love the simplicity. It's nothing fancy. It's lentils, it's cream, or it's tomatoes, it's onions, it's spice, and it's butter, right? So this is stuff that everyday people can do in terms of being able to afford the ingredients. But then you do some magical work to it to make it one of the world's most delicious plates or bites of food.
Yeah. I mean, when you taste it, you can just taste the butter. It feels creamy. The dal is soft, almost melts in your mouth. It's just, like you said, it's a hug in a bowl. It's a hug in a mouthful. This is a very, very beautiful bit of...
And it takes a long time. You've got to soak the lentils, snowball it. So this is a 24-hour process to make it like this. So our chefs deeply care about making sure this is right.
Yeah.
And it gets tended to. So if you come to one of the kitchens ever, there's always a vat of dal ready for tomorrow.
Ready for tomorrow. That's amazing. Basically, a lot of people, I think, they try and scoop. If it's wet, they try and scoop, right?
Yeah.
But actually, the press is very important when eating with your hands, because pressing allows you to put the food together and then scoop.
There you go. It's almost like a spoon.
It's almost like a spoon. You're creating a spoon out of the bread. And there's a way to do it where you don't get really the dal on your fingers. It doesn't need to be particularly messy. So if you look at Kavi said, beautiful technique, beautiful form.
Magic.
Magic.
Might be more black dal than anybody else in London.
There is so much food here. All of it has been absolutely wonderful so far. You mentioned that you thought this was the unsung hero.
Yeah.
What is the thing that, when you think of Dishoom, you think this is the one that's my favourite? We haven't talked about that yet. Remember, your chefs will be watching.
My chefs will be watching. So, things I'm especially proud of.
Yeah.
Because I think, look, there's so much on the menu, and I like to think that we can have something for everybody. I really enjoy our breakfast. So one of my favourite things to do is come late morning, 9:30, 10 o'clock, have a cup of chai, maybe catch up on some work or have a meeting with a colleague or meet up with a friend and have breakfast. Because I think that's a really lovely time where it's not so busy, as he says, as a restaurant empty behind him. But the love that goes into that, and we have some fantastic breakfast dishes that I love eating when I'm in Bombay. So we have amazing curry, amazing omelettes, a really delicious keema paredu, which is a liver dish and a minced dish with eggs on top.
Oh,
so there's
nice.
some really,
I've had that.
you should have it next time. Really rooted in Bombay stuff. And then we've taken a bit of liberty and kind of said, well, if a cafe was to open up in London, what would they serve? And so we have our version of a full English, so a big Bombay we call it. We're known for our naan rolls, so we have bacon naan rolls, sausage naan rolls, vegan naan rolls, egg naan rolls, which are really lovely. And then,
I only ever have the vegan ones.
Yeah, there you go.
Keeping it halal 24/7.
Vegan with an egg, so not so vegan.
No bacon or sausage involved.
So I really enjoy the breakfast menu.
Yeah.
And then during the day, it really depends on who I'm with. So I love just overwhelming people with a table like this.
I am overwhelmed, yeah.
Good. That's the point.
Yeah.
Which is a great selection of everything. Daal. We haven't had a curry. We can get a curry if you like. But biryanis, grills.
Yeah.
A little thing that I always have when I'm in Bombay is a vada pav.
Okay.
Which I think is such a delicious bite of food.
So explain what a vada pav is.
So a pav, which we talked about, is the bread, the
roll.
Portuguese rooted bread. Is all over Bombay, and people do all sorts of different things with it. A vada is a potato patty that's battered and fried with this delicious crispy batter on the outside, and we put it in the pav with some chutneys and some masala, and just that is a perfect sandwich, a perfect bite of food.
I mean, that is what he's just described there is just carb on carb on carb.
Yeah.
Now, explain, as a very handsome, fit-looking man in his 40s, how are you eating vada pav and looking like this? Because I look like I eat vada pav.
Yeah.
You don't look like you're eating vada pav. By the way, don't say yet like that. He disagreed. He was like, yeah, you do actually. You look like you
But
eat
you're saying like that's a bad thing. If someone said you look like you eat vada pav to me, I'd say that as a compliment. We should get t-shirts.
What a charmer.
We should get t-shirts. I eat vada pav.
How do you...
I think it's
especially
about...
when you own a restaurant like this,
Yeah.
how are you not massive?
Well, it's about looking after yourself, like you say. Yeah. It's very easy to constantly eat heavy, rich food.
Yeah.
And like we all live in London, we have abundance of everything.
Yeah, yeah.
But obviously I don't eat like this every day.
Yeah, okay.
I wish I did. I wish I could.
I mean, he says obviously like I'm going to relate to that. Oh, yeah, obviously, yeah.
Yeah, you bloody do.
No, I never do, yeah.
All right, have some biryani and
let's do biryani.
some raita.
Biryani, of course, is like there's so many ways of cooking a biryani.
Yes.
Is this biryani inspired by any particular part of the world? I can see, are these barberries?
These are actually cranberries, but we do use barberry in one of our biryanis. So biryanis and pilaus come from all over the world.
Yeah.
This is our chicken biryani.
Yeah.
And you'll find juicy chicken pieces in the bottom. They've had a marination and a cook, layers of rice, and we've also got some cranberries on the top. Yeah. And there's some fresh mint and things in there as well. So this is a dish that people eat in a pilau form in Bombay. Yeah. But we love taking that inspiration and making it into our version of that in a biryani here.
And why the cranberries? Where was that from? Was that just in terms of development of the recipe?
Actually, in Irani cuisine, which also eats a lot of this kind of stuff, they have a lot of barberries.
They do.
And so we found the barberries didn't work with this particular dish, but we have it when we have a jackfruit biryani. We have a jackfruit biryani on our menu.
Yeah.
We serve that with barberries because we felt that the barberries work better with the jackfruit and the cranberries work better with the chicken.
Chicken, okay.
Yeah. And I don't know how, I mean, meat and fruit is so universal.
Yeah.
You know, that it's, you know, we have it in English cuisine, we have it in the Middle East, we have it in this cuisine. I think it's so normal to have meat and fruit.
It is very normal. Like, so I personally think that Bengali biryanis are the best.
Of course you do.
Of course I do. Gachi biryani is the particularly famous one.
Yeah.
So gachi basically effectively means the rice and the meat is semi-cooked and then cooked together.
Yeah.
And they use something called aloo bukhara, which is almost like a prune that they have in it. So yeah, fruit with rice. I am not a big fan generally of barberries in rice.
Okay. Well, I've got cranberries here.
You got cranberries here.
Well, the other option was okra, so.
Yeah, so we avoid that. Now, rice with your hands. We're going to do a dry rice first, then we're going to do some with rice and dal so we can show you. So, one of my things about eating with your hands is, so when we eat generally, all of our senses we're using usually except touch.
But yeah, that's what I was going to talk to you about.
Yeah, and which is why eating with your hands is such a beautiful thing, because you get to feel the temperature, feel the food, the texture. And I think actually, I mean, I'm going to say there is some scientific research with no evidence, by the way. I'm just saying it.
Yeah.
There's scientific research that proves that food tastes better when you eat with your hands.
I think that's probably right.
Yeah.
But I think I agree with you. But here you go. Why do you feel that when your mum was feeding you or somebody else feeds you, that also tastes good? Because you haven't felt it with your hands.
That's a very, very good point.
So that must be an emotional connection.
That must be an emotional connection.
Yeah.
And being fed by someone you love, or someone who loves you, is a nice thing.
Yeah.
Right, so let's get into this chicken biryani.
Okay.
So the chicken is laid at the bottom.
Yeah, chicken layered at the bottom. And this isn't a kachi biryani. This is a dum biryani.
Dum biryani. And dum is the process of steaming it. So we hadn't have the lid, but usually around the top of the pan they have like a dough
seal.
A dough seal to steam it all together. Look at that. There you go. Cranberry works.
It's good, isn't it? It just cuts through. It gives you a bit of sharpness, but not too sharp.
They've been selling this for 14 years. They've been waiting for Eshaan Akbar to say the cranberry works in the biryani.
Well, it's a relief. We want everyone to say that. And how do you feel about having it with the raita?
Oh yes, of course. The raita is there.
For the
Like a bit of wetness.
A bit of wetness. And it also cuts through that chili as well. I love that about yogurt, right? Like, it just brings everything together as a raita, but then cuts through.
That beautiful bit of green chili just there.
Have it.
Which I'm just going to grab.
Boom. You signed our liability waiver, right?
Yes. Now, green chilies. The smaller they are, they tend to be a bit more spicy.
I think that's right. Yeah.
Thai chili peppers, red peppers. I'm a bad man. This I eat raw. That's hot.
It's hot. But
Hotter
good.
than I expected, to be honest with you.
And it's not that small.
I've got some rice here to help with the situation. That's hotter than I expected. No, it's absolutely fine. Okay. Again, my experience of eating biryani is with Bengali dishes. They have a kachumbra salad with these hot chilies with it.
Yeah.
Usually the technique is mouthful of biryani and a bite of the chili.
Yeah.
And there you go.
Yeah.
Lovely combination.
And actually, our biryani has green chili in it. So you should be getting some of that cooked green chili flavour. And then when you have that, just freshens it all up.
Freshens it all up. Right, I didn't get a chance to look at your technique there.
Okay, you want me to go again?
Yeah, let's go again.
I like this. I'm getting scored on how I eat. It's good. Well, I want a real score.
Yeah. So let's see how Kavi eats his biryani and raita.
I don't think it's too dissimilar to how you did it, to be honest with you.
Okay.
So I mix it all together.
Yep.
And then, I mean, I use my hand as a spoon.
Lovely scoop.
Yeah.
The scoop was beautiful. Yeah, and he uses his thumb.
Push
Perfect.
my thumb.
Yeah, perfect. He's absolutely nailed that.
Yeah.
So.
Look, if there was an Olympics, like we've got Paris coming up, a biryani eating, we could be the synchronised doubles.
We could be the synchronised double. It's like dressage, where they give the scores and no one knows what they're scoring.
Well, hold on, dressage is someone rides somebody else. I'm not looking forward to that. Maybe like synchronised diving or something.
Okay, yeah, fine. So look, you're probably grabbing this. So look, what I tend to like to do, it's called a mutti, basically. A mutti is like a mouthful, effectively. and I like to put it all together. You've got like almost like a cage here, and you push down, press together, and it all scoops up. What you find is when you're teaching people who eat rice, they kind of come out like this and kind of scoop it in frontwards, but you can be quite relaxed and keep your elbow on the table. Your thumb, as Kavi did there, acts as kind of a, what's the word I'm looking for?
Pusher?
Kind of pusher. Let's call it a pusher.
Yeah.
A pusher into your mouth. There you go.
And look at that, clean palm.
Look at that. Very clean palm.
Pretty good, right?
Very, very good.
Yeah.
I'm very impressed.
Well, I'm glad. I haven't been doing it wrong all these years.
No, you haven't. You've been absolutely smashing it. So in Dishoom, of course, you've got this, the dice thing and the key. Explain that to me.
So we thought, wouldn't it be fun to bring in a little bit of gambling into a restaurant?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it started off with our team. If they notice someone came in all the time, this is a little way to say thank you and I see you, to say, look, here's a little keychain. And so each of our restaurants has a different keychain, whether it looks like a dice or a guitar pick or a cool lightning bolt, whatever it might be. Each restaurant has a different. It started originally as an old Indian 1 paisa coin, which has it looks a bit like a polar, like it's got a hole in the middle.
Oh, right. Okay.
So that's how we started that.
Right.
And we thought that if you came for lunch, no matter how many of you, 2 of us, 1 of you, or 20 of you, when you ask for the bill and you've got that keychain and you show me the keychain, I won't bring you the bill, I'll bring you a dice.
Right.
And we call it the matka. And matka is the name of the pot.
Yeah.
But matka also is the name of the Bombay illegal like lottery gambling side. So we thought, why don't we marry those 2 things up? So we bring you a dice in a pot, and if you roll a 6, the meal's on us. And it brings me such great joy to hear just tables of people just cheering when they win.
They win.
It looks like it's such a gracious thing to get, right? Someone buying you lunch.
Do you see people checking the dice to make sure that there is a 6
They really
on there?
do.
Yeah.
People say, can I bring my own dice? I'm like, it doesn't quite work like that.
Yeah.
But I love it. And sometimes we see families doing it and asking their kids to roll. And when the kids win, they feel brilliant.
What a great thing to do.
So it's a bit of fun. So I'll give you one of those today. Look at that. You heard it here first.
Sorry, I'm going to get beeping keychain. What a day. This has been a great day.
There you go.
And do you reckon would you do something with encouraging people to eat with their hands in Dishoom, do you think?
I think so. I mean, I hopefully people do eat with their hands. I, funnily enough, don't eat biryani and raita with my hands.
Right.
Out. I do at home.
Yeah.
Even rice and dal, I probably don't, because at Dishoom, I tend to, unlike home, where you're probably having 1 or 2 things, I feel like at Dishoom, there's lots on my plate.
Lots going on.
So I will eat the stuff with my hand, where it's the bread and the grills and the curry, and then I don't know why I'll use fork for biryani.
Okay.
I don't know why. I might change my habits.
You might. Who knows? I mean, if you do, please tell me, because I just think that it shouldn't be seen as backwards to eat with your hands in public spaces, and I think that has happened over the years.
Yeah.
So, to me, I'd love to see people eating with their hands, and I can see Dishoom being the kind of place where you've got taps inside the restaurant, and people can wash their hands afterwards.
Totally.
So maybe I might change the Dishoom policy on these.
Well, in our King's Cross restaurant, we actually put a big sink in for people to wash their hands
there
afterwards.
you go.
Yeah,
So it's already there.
Well,
Well,
so just in the main dining room floor for people to go and wash their
so
hands.
what are you usually doing then? So you've got everything on the plate, you're eating the bread and the grills together.
Yeah.
And then are you washing your hands before you eat the rice, or are you just going in?
Yeah, I hadn't really thought about it. But I don't end up with that hand looking like this at the end of a Dishoom meal normally.
Okay.
So I think I probably avoid the raita and not the dal, maybe the raita and the biryani.
Okay.
Because I eat bread and dal, I don't eat rice and dal.
Rice and dal is a very common thing for me to eat.
Yeah, so that's maybe it. So I eat the raita, I don't eat with my hands.
Okay, well, I'm going to show for the camera how to eat rice and dal with your hands, because that's the one that I get the most questions about when I tell people. And this dal is a bit easier because it's a bit thicker, right? Bengali dal tends to be quite thin. You can get wetter dals, thinner dals. But this is what I'm doing here is Makahano, right? Where I'm bringing all the flavors together, and every bit of rice, if you look, every bit of rice is infused with flavor. A bit from the raita and a bit from the dal. And the same kind of thing, I'm scooping, I'm caging, I'm pressing, and lifting and eating. Actually, it's the first time I've had that dal with this rice.
Okay.
I think it's better
With the rice?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's better with the rice. Just because rice is so good at absorbing flavour, which, of course, breads are, but when you're having it with a garlic naan, you're tasting the garlic from the naan, whatever.
Yeah.
This, I think you really get to enjoy the flavour of the dal with it.
Yeah, I'd agree. And I like the texture as well with the rice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would be very happy to come into Dishoom and eat my black dal and rice together like this. So what next for Dishoom then?
We're very excited that we've just last year opened a new restaurant in Battersea, just behind the power station.
Amazing.
So our team there are doing a great job of bringing that restaurant to life. And also around the same kind of time, we opened up something called the Permit Room in Brighton, which took this whole idea about Bombay's bars are all called permit rooms, because in theory you still need a medical permit to drink. So you go to the doctor and say, hey dude, give me a medical permit, I need alcohol.
Yeah.
So all the bars are called permit rooms, and actually all our bars and restaurants are called permit rooms. But we thought, wouldn't it be fun to kind of take this idea of a permit room and kind of pull it out of the restaurant and place it somewhere that had its own new drinks list, a brand new food menu. And we've just done that in Brighton. And it's smaller than a Dishoom, a bit more rock and roll, music features a bit more in it.
Oh, nice, yeah.
A bit more laid back. So you can go in any time of day and we do breakfast, but you might just pop in, use it like a cafe during the day, but then go for a drink after work, or go for a meal, right? So it can be whatever you want it to be, and use that space like that as a third space. So we've just opened that in Brighton, and that's really a lot of fun. And it's allowed us again to re-engage in a new city, come up with some new creative concepts and ideas around food and drink. And we're opening another one of those in Cambridge in a few weeks' time.
Oh, amazing.
So I'm really excited for that. So what's keeping us busy and what's next is Cambridge, and making sure Battersea and Brighton really continue to look after their guests in the best possible way.
And what's been in the kind of, 14 years of Dishoom? What's been the thing that surprised you most about, because of course you had your ambitions for what you wanted Dishoom to be, but what has surprised you over the last 14 years about the success of Dishoom?
And that's a really good question. I often speak to people, the first place they come for dinner or lunch off the plane from Bombay is Dishoom.
Wow.
And for me, I find that extraordinary. And I think the reason that is because in Bombay, you don't get all of this food in one place, right? You might have Pav Bhaji on the beach, or Dahl in a restaurant, or the Biryani in a cafe, or whatever it might be, or vada pav on the street, right? Like, I don't know what it is, cross-breeding, or like just the best of Bombay.
Cross-cultural of India,
Or certainly Bombay on one table. People love that. And so that has been a big surprise for me, is that we do get a lot of Indian people, or people that live in India, that want to eat our food in London.
That's great. Right, on the emotional thing, let me show you something. So if you come over, I was saying earlier, my mum used to do this thing where, so you look here, there is a lot of flavour left on this plate, right? The thickness of the sauce. This index finger, this is the final bit of the meal that I always enjoy doing. Scooping it all up like this on one index finger, on the end. And that is the final bit of the meal for me.
Yeah.
I lick it off. Job's a good one. Dishoom, once again, delivering on every single bit.
Even the sliminess of the okra.
Even the sliminess of the okra. I'm sorry, even Dishoom wasn't able to convert me.
I tried.
To okra. Kavi, thank you so much.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Brilliant afternoon with you.
It's fun.
Dishoom continues to be, and I wish you the best success in all your future ventures. And thanks for letting me coming in and eat this amazing food with my hands.
It's a complete pleasure. Thank you for making it so approachable and fun.
Yeah, no problem. And let's do a quick palm test.
Oh, look, I'll cheat right there.
I was enjoying myself too much, but look, that is beautiful. Look at that.
Boom.
Boom. I mean, I've extended a bit too much there, to be fair. I was enjoying myself too much. But
you said, your mum said you could come down if you're at home.
Yeah.
This is your home.
Exactly. I felt very much at home, and I'm about to get a keychain, so
that's
job's a good one. Kavi, thank you very much.
Thank you. Pleasure's all mine.